About data type conversion, although it's a very big topic, we'll try to touch upon a few of that. And so as you can see on the screen, there are various conversion functions, right? So if a data is in numeric form and you want to basically convert it into a categorical form, typical situations would be something like rank, which would be mentioned as 1, 2, 3 and 4. Although this shows up as a number form, the intrinsic meaning of data is not a number but it's a rank. Right, so in this case, an analyst would typically like to see this data or work on this data as a categorical variable, and you might have to convert this into a form which is factor, right? So you might say as dot factor, right? So a typical case or examples which are shown over here is that is dot numeric, is dot character, is dot vector, is dot matrix, is dot data frame, which basically checks whether the class of the data is it numeric, is it a character, is it a vector, is it a matrix or a data frame. You can also use class as a function and parse the whole object inside this, and it will ideally say whether it is numeric or integer vector or whether it's a data frame or a matrix. That also is one way of doing it. And if you want to convert it, so you want to convert something which is actually saved as a number into say a factor, then you will say as dot factor, right? So the as will force it or coerce it into a different frame, right? So from a vector you can convert it to a one long vector with c, x, y, or to a matrix using c bind, r bind to a data frame. Now matrix typically has only one data type, right, whereas a data frame can have multiple. So when you merge two different matrix, one is a character vector and one is a numeric vector, you might typically want to have it as a data frame only, right? Otherwise it will convert the whole object into a character matrix, which doesn't make sense, right? You might lose some sensitive data over there. So that's why you might require these forms of transformations. Would be more clearer when you actually start working on modeling and when you will have to do this transformations. So going next, we'll see the aspect of date values, right? So one important attribute is the date, right? We have worked on this previously, wherein we had seen how do we select the format as D, M, Y, Y and all those things, right? And we have used it also when we were subsetting the data, right? So a typical case shown over here on your screen is like, if you have something which is a string, how do you convert that into a date object? So use the as dot date with a D capital and you specify the data. Now in this specific case, it is just two character strings which is shown. You can have a complete column wherein data is stored in a string form and you're converting that into a date form, right? Or else you could also use some other forms wherein you could specify, like in the syntax, wherein days, right? So it is actually the number of days. So when you convert date, right, which is stored in a character string into an actual date object, you can do mathematical computations like difference between two dates, right? You can compare whether one date is greater than the other date and all those things, which incidentally we had used in the subset function also. Sys.date returns you the system date as on today. So whatever your system is configured, accordingly it will give you the system date. And as you can see in the table, the symbols are shown, the %d, %a, %A and all those things. It has specification that the %d specifies the day as a number, like from 0 to 31, right? And %a means an abbreviated weekend. So is it a Monday? So in short, 3 letter, it explains whether it is Monday, Tuesday to Saturday, including Sundays also. And the same %A is the same thing, but it will expand it in the whole notion. So Monday will be displayed as the complete word Monday, right? %m will show you month and it will show you in numeric form, right? %b abbreviated month in small 3 letter month format, Jan, Feb, so JN, FEB, and %B is nothing but the whole form. And similarly, you have for year with a small y and a capital Y. So now let's start working on a small example case, as we can see on your screen. So we're going to use the system date, which is today's date itself, to start working on this. So I'm first saying, let's say a variable called as today, and I'm allocating sys.date, right? So this is current system date, allocating it. You can have a look at this today. So it's showing today's date, that is 4/1/2016. right? And then if you want to see, you can say format, right? So you have today over here, right? So I'm saying today, comma, and I'm saying the format is equal to, now you can specify what you want. So I can say percent capital B, percent small d, and percent small y, right? And you can have this as capital Y, right? And if you see, then this whole date is expressed in this form. Similarly, if I just change this into a small b, so obviously what we expect is JAN should be shown and not complete January, right? So you can manipulate the date object in this way, right? So let's move ahead and see what else we can do. So can we convert this from character to date? So obviously we are here showing some date, so we are going to allocate something into an object first. So str date, and we are saying that this is nothing but a user defined. So I'm saying str date, so I'm manually entering date over here. We have done this before, but just as a refresher, it's 01. So I'm saving this as a string, right? 1965, and I'm saying let me allocate one more date, and I'm saying 08/16/1975, right? So two dates I'm saving in string form. You can check the class of this, right? So it's character, right? And now I'm actually using the as dot date, and I'm saying str dates, the format, right? So you can specify the keyword as format. If you don't mention that also, R will understand. So percent m slash percent d slash percent capital Y, right? And now if you have a look at the dates, it will be shown in dates format, and you can say class of dates, it's a date form, right? So this is the difference over here and over here, right? So this is actually converted into a date object. The default format is YYY-MMM/DD, so you can bypass that by giving the forms which you know. So you can mention a capital M, so you can expand that also, right? So these are the options available. So let's try some more things. So I can say my dates, allocation sign as dot dates, and I'm saying C over here. I'm using 2007-06-22, and you can say 2004-02-13, right? And then you can have a look at this. TATES, right? So this is the default, right? Now date to character, you can convert a date which is existing in a date form, and you can convert it into something like a character form. So str dates, I'm doing the reverse now, and I'm saying as dot character, and basically passing dates. You can check the class of str dates, it's character, right? So but if you check the class of dates, it is a date form, right? So you're basically coursing it into a character form.